Welcome, everyone, to episode number 65 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today, I welcomed a Houston, Texas artist. His name is Muzik. Del reached out to me, I believe, back in April or May and sent me one of his songs. And I don't know if he was trying to get on one of my playlists or something back then when he reached out to me. But I mentioned to him that I had a podcast where I let artists, kind of give a little bit of their story and everything, and I interview them and everything. And he agreed to be on an episode, so we finally were able to connect on that this week, and it was pretty good to hear his positive energy. I love his self-confidence about his music and everything. He just dropped a song called Alter Ego in mid-July that's kind of doing good, doing big numbers and everything, and he mentioned a little bit about his creation process in the last year, how he has continued to try and go to studios and really make good use of his time. I can tell that he is someone that really has kind of a set plan in place about how he's going about approaching his career. I loved hearing, how he's taken his many influences over the years and kind of combined them into his music, how he loves hip-hop, he also loves R&B and some reggae and a lot of different styles, and he kind of has taken them and blended them into his own unique sound. And like I said, I really just appreciate Del for taking the initiative to reach out to me, you know what I mean? And that always makes me feel good. That means people are kind of noticing what I'm trying to do, and I was more than happy to get him on the show to kind of let people know a little bit more about him and what, where he's heading and what kind of path his journey is on. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 65 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today, I have a really dope artist from Houston, Texas. He goes by the name of Muzik. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Absolutely. And like I said, before we recorded here, I'm glad to, get in touch with you. Obviously, you sent me your music a few months ago and everything. And
right.
I know you just put out the Alter Ego record just a few weeks back
sir.
and everything. So I'm looking forward to kind of just picking your brain about, your career and everything so far. And to start every episode off, we kind of have the guests give a little bit of background, how you got into music, really just the basic information for those that might not be familiar with you and your sound and everything.
Gotcha. So I'm Muzik, right? And the reason that I call myself Muzik and I came up with this whole thing is because I'm dedicated to entertain the love of music. Because I've been vibing and rocking music for a long time, and I just love when different artists and different songs come together and just showcasing their craft. And it was just like, because I do so much different type of music, I do R&B, I do hip hop, dancehall, reggae, and all these different types of things. So it was just that conglomerate, just diversity of just saying, man, I'm dedicated to entertain the love of music. Why I call myself Muzik. And my name is Del.
Awesome, man. So how long have you been actually making music? Have you been in it for like 10 years or so, or longer than that? Like,
to be honest, man, I've been doing music for a long time. I've been around people doing music and just in that element of music, but I never really did it for myself per se. Even talking like years back, I even had like a little home studio to get people to come out and record music and even doing little projects within my close friends, but it wasn't as how I take it serious now. So I've just always been a part of music and around music, even to when I, at some point in my past, that I had a little network just to help showcase different artists in my country, So I've been around music for a while, but it was just me taking it really serious like a year and a half ago to a year ago of just, a lot of my friends and families like, yo, you have a lot of talent, like you make dope lit music, like you should do it for yourself, like go to the studio. And that's when I just started plotting and putting stuff together and taking my time to give this professional all-out lit music now.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you obviously mentioned, you're not from the U.S., obviously. You're in Houston. So can you talk about when did you make that transition over to the U.S.? When did you go to Houston? Kind of, how did that lead you to Houston? Like, how did music lead you to where you are now, you think?
Well, I came here out back sometime in 2011 or something to go to school and stuff, to do my master's and everything. And that was at that point of me being here, because I'm originally from the Caribbean, an island called Dominica.
Okay.
But it was just, being here and stuff and listening to different music and stuff that people are doing and stuff like that. To like me, as I said, like I love to take my time and just, formulate these different stories and these elements and stuff to put it together and just, this series when I really, like a couple months ago, as you said, I really just put everything out in full effect and came out with this final raw, perfect product.
Yeah, that's super awesome, man. Like I said, like when you sent me your music and I checked out your page, I just saw like you were just going hard, man. Like everything I saw, it was just like you like self-promoting and just kind of pushing what you were
Yeah.
doing in your brand and everything. So that's my type of individual, honestly. You seem like my type of individual that just goes super hard in what you're
Right.
believing and what you're trying to do. So I got big respect for that for sure. So as
And it's
far
just me knowing that element of what I have. I know that quality of music that I come out with. I know what I'm selling, basically.
Yeah.
So it was just me going all out into something that I love and I wanted to do, and just putting it all out. As you said, like I've been doing a lot of work for myself and pushing myself to promoting myself and stuff like that. So it was just me knowing the type of product that I have to like, I need to put this out for people to hear this and understand like this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I can really hear the self-confidence in some of the records. And my next question was going to be about your songwriting process, because I'm kind of curious to know if you're someone that writes things down a lot, or are you just kind of freestyling as you hear the production and things like that? Like, how does that work for you so far?
For me, honestly, when I hear a beat, I ain't gonna lie to you. In that first 5 to 15 minutes in that song that I hear that takes me, I already have like a chorus or a verse or something to a melody towards like, this might be it. And then I work from there to whether or not I take my iPad out and I just start, going based on me listening to myself and writing certain things. So it's just that creative process of as long as the beat moves me and as I say, within that 15 minutes, if I've already written something or got something down in my head, I know like this is the one. And then, as I said, I sit down, I take my time, when I keep listening to myself and say, okay, I need to put in this or write this, or even just painting out a whole story and just like, okay, cool, I'm putting this on this song and pushing it out.
Now, are you someone that likes to make a lot of records? Like you can make a few hundred records in maybe a week and kind of just pick the best ones? Or do you like to take your good old time with certain records and kind of just craft them over like a few weeks or a month or so?
I say I take my time. I went to a point where even when I put out Alter Ego, I was actually not even trying to listen to anything new. And that's the honest truth. I was like, man, I have so many songs. I'm just waiting to, push out and give people like what I got going on. But it was just me, taking my time. And then I heard this beat and I'm like, this sound hard. And I started writing it and stuff. And bam, this song comes out before the stuff that I'm already writing and stuff like that. So it's just me trying to tell myself, don't listen to anything new and just finishing out these projects that I have because it's going to be dope. It's going to be really good.
Yeah. So obviously you mentioned, you like to make a lot of different types of music and kind of incorporate that in your style. So I'm curious to know, who are your biggest musical influences? Like, who are some of your favorite artists of all time, you think?
Man, that's a hard one. I'm way back to the point when even when Busta Rhymes came up with that Disaster project. Remember that song, When Disaster Strikes?
Yes,
so my brothers and them, they would always listen to all these records. They bought those CDs. So I was at that era where I was small, listening to all these different great, artists and stuff. Why my sound, my hip hop sounds kind of to that essence. I'm not that kind of trap thing. I'm not saying I can't do it, but it's just me trying to stick to what I've used to and grown up to try and give my music sounding like this is that kind of raw hip hop kind of style.
Yeah.
So I would say a lot of different artists, man, from Nas to Jay-Z to Busta Rhymes to like everybody. I wasn't on that, I'm on East Coast or West Coast. Nah, I love everybody. So it was just me taking all these different songs and these dope artists and be like, these guys are onto something at their era. So it was just me taking my craft and formulating to like, I want to sound unique like me, but to capture that, if you remember that nostalgic kind of hip hop, I'm about to bring you that type of flavor in your ear.
It's almost like a melting pot. Yeah, it's almost like a melting pot of different styles too, and you can just kind of, like you said, take a little bit from each one, but make it your own. You know what I mean? Like you're not directly mimicking what they're doing; you're just being influenced by it and putting it into your own music. So that's really cool. So is there anybody that you'd say it's kind of like a dream collaboration? Like if you had the chance to do a song or maybe an album with someone, you'd be like, that is the person I'd want to do, collaborate with.
That's another hard one too, man. Cause
it's hard to narrow down.
I kind of like people that are diverse like me too, but it's just like it has to be that that one thing that you're writing about or something. Because I could have said DMX, but that's not really my style per se. But it's not like I couldn't bring fire to maybe a verse to it. So it's just really whatever it would be at that point to what that artist brings out that I can help paint that picture. Because I could even say, man, I could hop on a Drake or Tory Lanez or something like that because these guys are diverse in terms of what I do, you know? Yep. But it's a really a hard question to say, to be honest, man. It's really hard because it could be anybody from Busta Rhymes to, as I said, Jay-Z or even Noriega, you know what I'm saying? So it's just... It's a hard one.
Yeah, and you never know, too. Like, even the people that you do listen to, you never know. One day you might cross paths with them and something might happen. Right. Like, who's to say that couldn't happen? So,
right.
I guess, like, it's really just about timing, just like anything else and, like, anyone else you're collaborating with. It's just, like, if the opportunity presents itself, you know, you'll be ready. So,
right. Even to know, man, I ain't gonna lie. There a couple dope artists, even to where I became friends with them. They want to do music with me and stuff, and for me, telling them, like, it's all about timing. You know, you just have to give me time because I still have a lot of records I want to do. But at the end of the day, is if you bring me something that I really love and I like and I vibe to it within that first 50 minutes, trust me, I'm going to hop on it, you know?
Yeah. So speaking of, you know, some other people that you've already collaborated with, who would you say is probably someone that stands out to you that you'd say you have a lot of chemistry with when you guys are in the studio or when you've already, you know, someone you've already made a record with that you feel very
I want to say I have this guy called Cravo. It's Cravo.it, I think Cravo, Krevo. I think we have a really good chemistry because so far we've done like 2 records together. They're about to come in soon. I even have this one called Unusual. That's in my performances because it's not released yet. So I would say him if I had to choose somebody, you know, because he has that kind of style too that he switches it up from time to time, and we just have that kind of chemistry where low-key we might be maybe in the future going to put a record out together. So it's just, I would say him.
Nice. I'll have to look him up, check out his music and everything. So I'm always down to hear, you know, who the guests are collaborating with and everything too. So that's interesting. So over the last like year or so, you've probably been in Houston. Have you been recording mostly from home or in studios, or has it been both? I know, like, during the pandemic, a lot of people were, you know, they were recording at their house and things like that. So how did that go for you?
So I want to say, like, a year ago, I normally go to a professional studio, like, because I believe at this point in my career, it's either you go big or you go home. So I always go to, like, the professional studio and stuff to just make sure everything is right, because as I said, I knew my product and what I wanted to push out. So that song 345 that I have, the R&B record, I actually started recording it like a year ago. So when I finished it, like let's say early this year, it was actually the anniversary of that same day I recorded it a year ago.
Oh, nice.
Because I said, like, I like to take my time, listen to it 1,000 times if I have to make sure this is good, this storytelling, this is the point I'm trying to drive through and stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. That's kind of cool too how things happen like that. Like you wouldn't know that like when you recorded it, but then it ends up coming out like the same. That's what we talked about timing. You know what I mean?
That was dope too. Yeah. My senior engineer, Easy, he's like, yo, listen, like we recorded this like a year ago on date of day, and I was like, man, that's everything is gonna align now from this point. I already know where I'm heading, where I'm going.
Yeah, that's super awesome. So obviously, like I said, the last year, a lot of challenges for a lot of people, and a lot of different things have come up that kind of were setbacks for people. So for you, you know, anything you're comfortable sharing, was there anything you had to kind of, you know, hurdle over to kind of get to the next level or kind of keep your career moving? Was there anything that was kind of a major setback that kind of, I don't know, was a block for you?
Yeah, it was recording too. That's another reason why I had to record so late, because, you know, everything was based on appointments, because that studio is like always busy. It's always booked. So it was just like, man, I can't go this month for this year. All right, cool. And the whole pandemic and everything shutting down. So it was just me even taking my time to really make better music, understand myself, even from when I recorded stuff earlier on, to get to this point where I am now, where I know I'm good. I'm ready to put out all the music that I can, because I've grown, developed, listened to myself, you know, everything. So that for me wasn't basically much of a setback, but just me helping to discover myself more, learn myself more, better my craft and everything.
Yeah. It's funny because one thing I've said to all the people I've asked that to, and they kind of all have the same answer. It's like they got to have the time they got to have more time to kind of work on themselves, and in their career they got to just get better because they had more time on their hands. So I think like as long as you're able to take away a positive out of it, like obviously it wasn't a good situation. It still isn't.
No.
Like we're still technically in a pandemic, and there's a lot of people affected by it and things like that. But it's like I think if you make it through, and your family's healthy, and you have your health and everything, and you're still able to kind of move the way you were moving, as long as you
Right.
had that extra time to kind of work and get better, that's the best thing that can happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
it's definitely good to hear that that was kind of the same for you as well. So
Yep.
yeah, that's very good to hear. What do you think as far as since you've been doing music and everything? Obviously, there's the business side to music, and the business side is something that a lot of people they don't really want to get into, or they kind of don't really know a lot about it. So for you, what has been the biggest struggle, or maybe something that you learned along the way in the last few years that you would want to tell somebody else to kind of look out for as far as the business side of things is concerned?
I want to say, making music, like, you have to, obviously you have to buy the beat and everything. I would say, man, like, let's say I know a lot of people, they just buy, like, let's say maybe a wave or MP3 and stuff like that. For me, I would be like, buy the full package. Like, whether you can't get it exclusively, but buy the full package, because you never know where you're going to end up. Once you believe in yourself and you have confidence, like, you never know where you're going to end up or what's going to happen for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about, oh, I'm making music to let somebody hear me. Now you have to push yourself to the limit. So just do the maximum. Go all out if you're going to do this craft. And in terms of studio time, as I said, I go to a professional studio. So time is literally money. So, like, whether or not you're that type of rapper to freestyle a lot, then that's fine. That's just how you make your music. But with me, as I said, man, like, I take my time. I try to make sure I have everything. My words are good and recite it to myself and stuff. So I know when I go to the studio, I try to knock everything out. You know what I'm saying? Not just like, man, I did this thing in 3 hours and stuff like that, and then I'm good now. Like, take your time, even if you have to do another 4 hours again to go into just, take your time. And when you spend on yourself, go all out with it. But make sure that it's that final product. Don't rush anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell you, too, from a producer's perspective, I love exactly what you just said, because it means that you are serious in what you're doing. And for me, when I work with artists, I want to know that they're just as serious as I am. You know what I mean? Like, if you're out here just messing around and you don't understand, like, how things work or, like, how we can do business, it's kind of like, I don't like to just turn people away, but it's like, I want to know that we're on the same page. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
And then,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and then for me, it's like, as I said, man, look at where I am now. I'm been booked, like, doing so many different shows, man. Sometimes I did, like, 2 shows in one day and stuff like that. And right now, my song is in a movie, a local Houston movie, even to me being, like, on certain internet radios and stuff like that. So it's just different things with the licenses of, if you're making beats. As I said, if you go all out, you don't have to worry about anything like, oh, man, somebody going to come after me now, because you did it the right way, the way you're supposed to do it, because you never know where you're going to end up. Like, how I know that I'll be doing all these shows and for my music to be where it is within that short period of time, with hard work.
Yeah.
So,
as far as the beat buying thing goes, too, it's kind of like, I think a lot of artists get it confused about what it is. It's more so about the copyright than about the actual beat. You know what I mean? Like what you just said, it's like you buy the exclusive, you're buying the right to have it exclusively. That's what you're buying, more so than the song itself. So I think it's like you said, you got to just educate yourself on these things and just kind of have an understanding, so you're not going in kind of ignorant to what it's all about. So
right.
And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I think you already have kind of been there, done that with that whole thing. So you kind of just mentioned that you've got a lot going on, especially now with shows opening back up and things. Have you ever found yourself getting kind of overwhelmed or maybe burn out at all? Have you ever faced burnout as an artist so far, you think?
Man, let me tell you something. My friends and people tell me I'm a robot, bro. Like, where do you not get tired? Like, to them, they know I'm tired, but they just don't see it, because whether or not every night I'm in a club, promoting myself, going out there to doing all these shows and still having my 9 to 5 and every extra little curricular activities and stuff. So it's just like, I haven't reached that point yet. But I know sometimes I'm tired, But it doesn't show because whenever I go out to do this thing, I'm going out to work. That's my mind. That's my motivation. So whether or not I felt tired for that first minute, when I start working, man, it's already window. So a lot of my friends say I'm like a robot. So I haven't done that burnout phase yet.
How many hours of sleep are you averaging right now, you'd say? Like, how many hours?
Man, sometimes I go out, come back home because everything shuts down by 2 o'clock in Houston. Yeah. So sometimes I get home, depending on the night, from 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I got to get up to leave my house for 7 o'clock to go to work. You know, I kind of cooled out on going to clubs because, as I said, I've been getting so many different shows. Like every week I maybe had a show or something. So that promoting thing kind of cooled down a little bit to me doing the shows. So the sleep has gone a little bit better, whether it's not I rehearsing and stuff like that. So the sleep has gone a little bit better. But it's still something where I still need sleep.
Yeah,
I just haven't gotten it yet.
I was about to say, because, like, for me, myself, I still need that at least 4 hours, maybe 3. Like, I might be able to skid by on 3, but I feel like anything less than that, I might, like, fall asleep at the wheel the next day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but 4 naps is a hell of a thing. I get a 4 nap and I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But I'm glad to hear things are picking up for you. Like, I'm glad to hear things are kind of opening back up. And I know in cities it's much different. Like you said, there's still, like a curfew and everything like that, and like things kind of haven't completely lifted.
And then there's this new variant too that's putting people to wear masks again and stuff too. So
yeah, it's crazy, and I think it's gonna just keep transpiring and changing every day. But I think the best thing like we can do, like I said earlier, is just kind of take each day one at a time, just do what we can, and just keep moving in the right direction. So I think that's all we can do. So obviously you said you got a lot of music in the tuck already. What can we expect in the coming months? Let's say before the end of 2021. What do you have kind of already set in stone?
As I said, I'm working on a couple of projects. I'm still in the wind in terms of which one I want to put out yet. But as I said, like for right now, I have like 9 joints already. It's just I only put out 2 so far. I do have an extra one called Get Back, but it's exclusively on SoundCloud. I have music that's going to be released soon. So there's a lot of projects, even to collaborations and stuff before the year is ending. It's just, as I said, it's just me taking my time and patience, because I believe like when you take your time and you make good music, it's going to be a better product, So I have a lot of music coming out. It's just, as I said, like it's just ain't trying to put everything too much to exhaust people, because I'm just new at it and I have these different songs. So it's like, man, I love R&B. This guy does R&B, but then I love hip hop. Oh shit, he can, put it out too. So my thing, as I said, is dedicated to entertain the love of music. I have all these different songs and music. So it's just me in my mind saying that whatever DJ is about to spin, whether it's a Caribbean thing, a hip hop thing, an R&B thing, I got a record for you. That's my thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing all of it, man, for sure. I'm going to be on the lookout. So that's awesome. So I know you're on Instagram. Where else can people find you on social media at?
For right now, it's basically just more Instagram. I tried to make a Facebook, but they said Del Music wasn't a real name, so I'm still tweaking on how I'm gonna do that. Like that's crazy. Like there's a whole bunch of different names out there, and I can't even use Del Music as like, oh, that's the name I want to join Facebook on. So it's just me trying to tweak that and stuff. I do have a Twitter page and a TikTok page, but that's a steady trying to growing thing. But my main page is really my Instagram, where everything is tagged to that. So whatever else I have that's brand new coming out, it's all going to be tagged to that where people can still find it. But for all my exclusive of my performances and stuff like that and snippets, everything is going to be on my Instagram right now.
Awesome.
And then I'm going to push out some videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's just, me just dealing and just have some patience, man. But a lot of great shit is coming out.
So if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe you wouldn't change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
That's a good question. My hype man and I, because I have an official hype man now, we were talking about it, and I told him, like, listen, man, I'm happy that I put out music now at this point of my music maturity stage versus when I did music way back where I could have, because I feel like at this point now, I would be listening to myself and be like, bro, this maybe is trash, because maybe I wouldn't have gone the professional way. Maybe I'd go like everybody, just doing some and just going to a basement studio, whatever it is they do, and just putting on music because they just want to be heard. So I would have really just tell myself, yo, bro, you need to chill, take your time, get more experience, get stories, get development, chill, he's coming. So I think where I am now is where I'm supposed to be.
So let's flip it then. Let's say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career?
Man, I'm saying I'm going all the way on top, man, to the satellites. Because even now where I am, and just everything is just so fast-paced and just all getting so much love and empowerment and just like, this shit is good. So we have this thing in my Dell music team where we say, I make people a believer. Like, you hear my song, like, I do music, okay? Everybody says that, but then when you hear it, you become a believer. You know what I'm saying? So it's just me knowing that I'm steady climbing to worlds where I can be the best version of myself in my music incline.
So last question for you here. Do you have any final words of wisdom for the listeners today?
Believe in yourself. Don't listen to anybody that tells you, man, you can't do this, or you're not going to do this, or you're too old, or, just you not having confidence to say, man, I'm not going to do this, I'm not trying. Nah, like, that's your passion and you really want to do it, go ahead and do it. Don't listen to anybody. Like, go do it. But if you're doing it, be serious and go all in into it. Because if you go half-ass, like, the amount of energy and time and perfection you're going to put to it, you're not going to have that kind of drive. You know what I'm saying? So it's just believe in yourself, be very confident. If you know you have a really dope project or just that sound or that music or whatever it is, just stick to it. Because, like, for me, I never, because I had a radio interview the other day and they asked me about my parents. So honestly, like, when I made my music, I never thought my parents would like the type of music I did. That's why in my song Alter Ego, I said that line, like, if my mom ever hears this song, she'll think I'm a sinner. But in all reality, my brother went and showed her one of my performances, and then she was all for it, So as long as you have good music and you have that kind of positivity where you want to do some good for yourself, people are going to stand by you no matter what. So don't let anything derail you from what you want to do. Just go do it. If you love it, it makes sense to do it, go ahead for it.
Wise words, man. Well, Dell, that's all I have for you today, man. Like I said, I appreciate you giving, some time today.
No problem, man.
Yeah, to be on the episode. And, I'm coming down to Texas soon. Maybe we could do a part 2 one of these days, man.
Yes, sir. I got you, brother.
Thanks, everyone, for listening today. That was episode number 65. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks very much.